Hello and welcome to Insert Coin, your new favourite YouTube series, where we reminisce on games of old and look forward to games of new. My name's Troy, and today I am joined by my good friend Stephen Beard. How are you, mate? Woo! There's an actual studio audience. Yeah!
What was that noise?
How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right.
Good, mate.
This is probably the first time I've ever done anything like this, so it's really weird.
First of many, mate. We'll get you on again.
First
Well,
of many,
we'll
yeah.
see how this one goes.
Yeah.
So, this is all about gaming. Although we don't have to talk about that, it would help. But so, what were your? I'll kick off with what were your earliest memories of gaming? What influenced you? What got you into gaming?
I mean, I've got two older brothers, so it was pretty much dictated to me.
Right.
It was kind of just like they would have already started playing them, and then I would have just joined in because we're 3 years apart, all three of us. So.
Okay.
First game I remember, I think we had an Amstrad.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So quite some way.
Yeah, man.
I think the earliest games would be Bubble Bobble. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
The two little
Bubble Bobble,
dinosaurs,
yeah,
and you had to climb up around the. So three actually. So there's that. Because it was all like very arcadey then, wasn't it? I suppose it was basically arcade games.
A lot of it felt like it was games that came from an arcade and were converted for like home console use essentially.
Yeah.
Arcade things were massive back in the 80s, and I think a lot of that like crossed over. So yeah, a lot of them were side-scrolling like platformers. Like, is it the first time like Mario was introduced was actually in like the Donkey Kong game?
That's it. Yeah.
Chasing Donkey Kong about and the ladder. Yeah. So all those arcade platform games.
And that was cassettes, wasn't it?
Mm.
So the other games were there was a Scooby-Doo game on the Amstrad.
Wow, okay.
If you remember that, it was called some like Halloweeny name. And
I
stuff
should remember that. I'm older than you. And I don't remember that.
Oh, okay. But there was.
I'm older. That's bad memory, but yeah.
Maybe you've grown out of it. There was a scene where like you have a Scrappy-Doo, you have like hop on a log and float across this thing while you've got like bats and stuff flying around. Right. Like it was a real like if you remember that Mickey and Donald game on the Sega, it was kind of like that, but Scooby-Doo.
Nice.
And then the other one would be Roland in the caves and Roland on the ropes. Right. Do you remember those?
No,
they were like proper like low level. Like you were this little caterpillar in a cave getting attacked by like pterodactyls and shit.
Wow.
And then just some like really like blocky 8-bit guy climbing ropes in this cave. It was
classic.
Terrible, but I remember it being amazing. Yeah.
So they were on cassettes.
Yeah, that was the Amstrad ones. Yeah.
Like vaguely remember that. Like I remember going around to mates' house that had it. Like my first console was a NES. Like we didn't quite like Mum couldn't afford those ones back in the day, but she got me a NES. I remember getting that, but I remember going around to friends' houses that had the ones that was on cassette. It's like, come around and play a game. What time are you going to come around? Like, I'll come around like dinner time. Like, no, probably come around like a few hours early because you need to load that thing up first. So you could put it in, wait for the thing to load up, go and have your dinner and come back and it was just about ready. Yeah. I think one of the first ones I remember playing that was like a Postman Pat game. I
don't remember that.
Fucking terrible. But I remember waiting like a good 2 hours for the thing to load up.
Was Ghouls and Ghosts on the Amstrad? Because that's like a really famous arcade game.
I remember Ghouls and Ghosts, I think on the Mega Drive, possibly.
Probably that then, yeah. No,
it might have been before that. It might have been a bit older.
That was
but I'm fairly sure I remember it on the Mega Drive at least.
Okay. I mean, I remember I was young enough, so this is probably one of my earliest memories as well, that I was young enough that my mum wouldn't let me watch the video to Thriller. That's going back quite some way. Yeah. I would have been terrified as well.
Did you ever play the Michael Jackson game? Was it the Moonwalker game?
Yeah. Funnily enough, talking about it yesterday with someone. Yeah. Can't go into the rest of the conversation. He made up an ending to the game, and you can probably imagine what it was. But
all right then.
He's adamant it was real, and I was like, there's a little bit to unpick here, mate. But, no, my mate Ben is a footwear designer.
Okay.
You know Ben, Be Smart on the song that I did, right?
Yeah.
So he is like a self-employed footwear designer, and in the office that he rents, much like this place, he's got the Michael Jackson arcade.
Oh wow!
And they just play it on their lunch and stuff.
No
so I went
way.
and saw his place where he does his designs and stuff.
Right.
in between lockdowns. And we're just smashing out some Moonwalker.
Mate, that's
It's wicked,
cool,
man. Like fully stood at the console with the joysticks. Like
Oh, man.
it's wicked.
That's something I want to get for here. I've seen a few places that have started doing now, like the arcade cabinets, and you can get them for, considering it's an arcade cabinet, I think they're reasonably well priced. I think they're like £500 or so, but you can get like a Mortal Kombat one. It's got Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, and then Pac-Man and whatever else in, but like full standing like arcade block. So I'd love to get one of those. That's pretty cool. Man. So he just has that at his workplace.
Yeah, I don't know if it's his or but it's in the building.
The fact that he's got it there is pretty cool.
So he's part of a bigger company, but he's self-employed and just freelance, I guess. And they just collectively have it, which is even cooler, to be honest, because then they can have like competitions on.
That's awesome.
Moonwalker.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'll see if I can get hold of a copy of it here, and we'll do some sort of competition. I don't know what competition you do on Moonwalker, but yeah, we'll see if we can get it here. So your earliest memories, you said like the Amstrad and stuff like that, and you mentioned a few games there. Were there any that really stood out that you enjoyed? Not necessarily the Amstrad, but maybe like slightly further forward. Did you have anything like the Mega Drive or the SNES or anything? Or
yeah, so that Mickey and Donald game, always I remember when me and my brothers, we used to absolutely love it because it was the first game where we experienced co-op modes. So we would sort of take it in turns, like round robin, playing that. I can't even remember what it was called. It was like Mystical Quest or something like that.
I'm fairly sure I've got that up there somewhere.
Have you?
Is it that, or is it the? Oh, it might be the DuckTales game. I think the front cover's like him with like the pile of coins and stuff like that. I think that was on the NES.
Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's his name, Scrooge McDuck. I was like,
dives into the coins.
One of the duck games, like diving into the coins. I'm sure I've got that.
Yeah.
Or Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Well, I had that for the NES. Yeah, man. Classic.
I remember this show. I didn't play the game. To be honest, though, the most prominent game is probably Mortal Kombat, which you mentioned just now.
Yeah.
Because as well, I think there's that thing. Obviously, you pick your favorite character, and I mean, my brothers were always like the ninjas. So I was Sub-Zero, James was Scorpion, and Dan was Reptile.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those games that, like, every single time you play it, you find something new. And then obviously they started introducing things every new edition, like brutalities and fatalities. Obviously, was always there. Babalities,
friendship,
animalities. Yeah. Like the friendship was like just awful, wasn't it?
It's a present.
Yeah.
I know. I've just spent 3 rounds like piling your face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he's got a Cabal just holding a balloon after like a 50 brutality move. Yeah. Yeah, so that one was amazing, but I think they went a bit wayward in the end. But it was around the same time I sort of made less time for gaming and stuff. Right. So, to be honest, I think the last game I actually owned was FIFA 09.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the one that you gave me that's up on that shelf?
Yeah.
With the Xbox?
Yeah, I was just like, this is now redundant. So 12 years of just sitting in a box. But yeah, that was just the game that got me through uni when I was doing my dissertation.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really like, it was just the current one.
Yeah.
It was
we used to have a similar thing at uni. I remember in the kitchen that we had, because it was a student halls, like we lived in Bede Hall. For those that don't know, Bede Hall, shout out to De Montfort University. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, in yes, studio audience. But yeah, Bede Hall, it was like apartments of like 10 guys and then 10 girls above, and so the kitchens were 3 times the size of this. But one of the guys who lived with had a projector, so he used to like just set that up, and we'd have like Pro Evolution like Fridays. So we'd have that up on the projector screen, and we had like on the PlayStation 2 we had the multi-tap as well, so we'd do that. That got us through uni like massively. So I feel you on that with FIFA. You said FIFA 09?
FIFA 09, yeah, it was the one with Rooney on the cover.
Yes, I remember that one. Yeah. I think we played PES, or maybe 5 or 6 it might have been. The one that had Adriano on the front.
Yeah,
might have been 6. One of you all know. Which one was it? 6. There we go. PES 6. But yeah, that was cool though, man.
Yeah, there was that period it was around that time actually, just a few years before that, where PES and FIFA were like properly competing. There was like online social media debates about which was the best and stuff. But they were both really good at that point, to be honest.
I always found PES at the time, at least, and I haven't played it recently. And it's not even called PES anymore. It's called eFootball or something like that. It's called, I think. But I remember PES feeling a lot more arcadey. Like it felt like a proper arcade game, and FIFA was much more of a simulator. But then there was like numerous other football games that came out, and none of them ever came close to like FIFA or Pro Evo. But do you remember Red Card Football, where the idea was to just basically foul as much as possible? Yeah. Virtua Striker on the Dreamcast, which is just a straight port from the arcade.
That was the one. Yeah, that was the one my brother used to love, and that's why he liked Pro Evo quite a lot actually, because it was that arcadey side. You said,
They had Actua Soccer as well, which was meant to be like a kind of competitor for FIFA, and
Yep.
didn't quite get. I'm sure Alan Shearer was on like the front of one of them. That's how old
That
that
rings a
one
bell.
was. Adidas Power Soccer, that was quite fun.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, Adidas Power Soccer was
Adidas
all right.
Power Soccer.
Fuck it, it's another football game.
We're gonna go really retro. We could go Sensible Soccer on the
Sensible
PC.
Soccer, or what was the one on the Mega Drive? Italia 90.
Yeah.
I think it was called Italia 90. It was like the top-down one, like Sensible Soccer, but every time we kicked the ball, it was just a clunk.
Yeah, because they had the goal or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I never know what this says. What is it?
What is it?
Golasso.
Golasso.
Yeah.
Golasso.
Yeah. I think they had that intro on that game. Right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I remember the original FIFA. Was it FIFA International on the Mega Drive? And it was like the isometric views. It wasn't the front on one, but the isometric one. There's always a sweet spot. You could always score from like the edge of the penalty area, like a few yards out. You hit it there. It didn't matter if it was the fucking goalkeeper, a defender, or a striker you hit it with. It would always go in from that angle. But yeah, man. So what else have I got down here? Any all-time like favorite games? I know you've spoken about some that you played at uni that kind of got you through that time, and sort of your earliest ones. Are there any that really kind of stick out that you're just like, damn, yeah, that was a great game?
Yeah. So they'll probably all be N64 because that was like
that's fine. It's a class console.
The age where like what was I 10 when they came out. So that was when GoldenEye came out.
Yeah.
So GoldenEye was the one. My brother was. I stand by this. My oldest brother was the best person on GoldenEye at specifically License to Kill.
Right. Okay.
In the world.
Really?
Like he would. I bet he would. I genuinely believe he would have challenged anyone. It was ridiculous. Like the rest of the game, he didn't even like it. He just played License to Kill, and he would destroy us every time.
We'll get him in here, mate. I'm considering. I'm considering picking up GoldenEye for the 64. I thought I had it, and I've had a flick through. And I haven't.
Yeah.
But I know the CEX down the road's got it for about 15 quid. So I'm just like, I'll get that. And I'll get a few pads and do like a little 4-player thing.
Yeah.
We'll do like a speed kind of level, like complete this level in a certain time. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
He'll make the excuse now though, because he's not played it for years and he's now
rusty.
Fall Guys and Rocket League is his main thing.
Okay.
So. Yeah, but the other games for me, so Bomberman 64, because I was always massively into any game that had like a create your own character thing. And obviously in Bomberman you could earn different outfits and stuff, which I guess is like Fall Guys, isn't it? And you could build levels and things on that, I think.
Can't remember.
And have like multiplayer mode, but yeah, it was like a can't even think of the terms. An RPG kind of thing.
Yeah.
There was one player mode which was like RPG, but then you had the multiplayer one just in an arena and you just blow shit up.
Nice.
There was actually a game that my brothers always hated, and it annoyed me because I wanted to play it a lot, and it was great in multiplayer, called Chameleon Twist.
I remember Chameleon Twist.
Yeah, and it was a similar vein to Bomberman.
Yeah.
Where we had like an arena and like these weird things. I can't even really remember it, but it was a very like blocked together game.
Yeah.
Little chameleons running around. I can't even think what the aim of the game was, but I just remember loving it.
Yeah.
But my brothers never wanted to play it, so it kind of just died a death.
Right.
And then obviously came in WWF Attitude. Well, Warzone first.
Warzone, yeah.
WCW.
Stone Cold on the front.
Yeah.
Yep.
And and then WCW Nitro. No, World Tour.
Oh yeah.
And then Revenge.
And
then Attitude came out. WWF Attitude. And then No Mercy.
No Mercy.
And No Mercy was like.
No Mercy is still probably not even arguably like the best wrestling game out there, I think.
Yeah.
It's between that and maybe, I don't know, like one of the SmackDown ones, like so Here Comes the Pain or Know Your Role, or even the first SmackDown, like PS1.
Yeah.
Like those ones were fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
But the new AEW game that's coming out is made by the same, I think it's the same development team that did No Mercy.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it and again, like that felt very arcadey as opposed to like some of the WWE games, certainly later on, that were a bit more simulation based, a lot like PES and FIFA. But I always preferred that more arcade feel. Like I remember I've got on the NES up there, is it WrestleMania Challenge, and that was very arcadey. It was classic. If I can get the cables to fix that thing up, I'll put it on at some point. But yeah, the WrestleMania Challenge, and then you had there was one called WWE All Stars, which was very arcadey, and so like No Mercy felt like a little bit that for me. So that's okay. Game. Yeah.
What was that one? Is it In Your House where you would do? It was like that was like an old like Mega Drive or something, or like early PlayStation, and you do like a 50-foot high pile like Tombstone or something. They'd fly off the screen and come
That's
back
it.
down.
Yeah. It's just really over the top,
Ridiculous,
like playing Street Fighter with like wrestling skins.
yeah,
That's it.
that was
Yeah,
wicked.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was there anything else on the 64? Was it that's a like a wealth of fucking super.
Yeah,
games.
I mean there'd be a million. I remember actually, well, the most physically painful game to play, Mario Party.
Oh mate,
where you had to like on the analog stick,
that, and like blisters on your hand. And,
yeah. But that was Mario Party was one of my favorite games of all time, every single edition. But the first one, was when everyone was like, you need to change this, and they got rid of it. Like they listened to like blistered up kids. Yeah. But no, Mario Party, ultimate multiplayer game. The N64, based on what you were saying as well, I'd say is an interesting point because where you're saying obviously these games aren't necessarily all the best now, like No Mercy. I think the difference between the N64 and a previous console is greater than the difference between anything since.
Oh, I get like the jump.
Yeah, like the growth
between...
from.
Yeah.
I don't. I was young, obviously, and I was amazed by anything, and I don't play games enough now to really make that comment. But I just remember always thinking that growing up, like the GameCube was great, but it wasn't that much better than the N64.
Yeah.
And Xbox.
Like the Xbox, and then you had the 360.
Yeah, and then you had like Dreamcast and all the different Sega progressions and stuff. I just remember the N64 blowing everyone's mind.
Yeah, it was a really unique console. I think, like you say, like there's very few where you get that kind of like leap in generations of consoles where you really go, wow, that's a jump up from the last one. Like the 64 stood out so much, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else came out around that time. Actually, I can't remember what year the 64 came out. Like.
I'm sure it was 98 because it was GoldenEye, Zelda, Ocarina of Time were like the initial launch games, or like very shortly after.
Yeah.
Apart from like Clay Fighter 33 and a third.
Clay Fighter, yeah.
Which was awful, but I'd Earthworm Jim as an unlockable character.
Yes.
The only good thing about it. Yeah, I think it was about 98, maybe 97.
Nice. To round off, is there a game? You say you don't play games that much anymore, but. If there was to be a remake or a remaster, we're seeing that a lot as of late. A lot of games getting remastered, a lot of classics and stuff like the Resident Evil series kind of springs to mind. Is there a game that you enjoyed back then that you would love to see like an updated kind of like next generation kind of remaster of?
Well, I think the most recent game that I was like really, really impressed by is the one that's apparently in the studio today, which is Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what the current standard of games with them is, but I have recently refound my love for anime again. Nice. So a really like interactive, like I know that they did the kind of flying around the universe in the Dragon Ball Z games, but something that really nailed that down and cracked like deep into the storylines and interlinked it all, because there was a lot of it was like cut footage, just like film footage and stuff, or like reanimated game footage of it and stuff. So to be able to like get really deep into the storylines and just just fuck off the age rating, just make it adult, and just have like the real gritty anime stuff, it would be amazing. But I don't really know, to be honest. Is there like a massively modern version of Worms? Because that was one of my favourite games.
Worms are so good, man.
I don't know what they are now.
So many iterations. I don't know if there's a new one. Like I've got Worms. Is it World Tour? I think it's called. But that's not even a new one. That's on Xbox Game Pass. I think that's when it maybe came out in the 360. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
And the one that stuck out to me was Worms Armageddon. Was the
one
that
was incredible.
Like, playing and fucking love that. The thing is.
Well, that was N64, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was one of my main games. Yeah.
But I say like, it was amazing. I'd like to see a remaster. Actually, part of like its charm, even going back playing now, is that it doesn't need to be polished. Like it's such a simple game. Like I don't think it would need anything adding more to it. Like you could buff up the graphics, you could add like different animations, stuff like that. But like the charm of that for me was just. As it was, like I loved it. So
the simplicity and stuff,
yeah,
because I had Worms 3D on the GameCube actually.
Oh, nice.
And it was good. Yeah. But there was always that kind of like, is this a bit overkill? Yeah. But it was an element of it which was amazing. But that's another game where you could obviously, because you could name your worms.
Oh yeah.
You always had like The Rock, Stone Cold.
Of course you did.
Versus Goku and Vegeta sort of thing, like just completely unrelated things. And you're like, this is amazing.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. Right. That wraps this bit up. In this review, we will be taking a look at the Callisto Protocol, a survival horror action game released towards the end of 2022. This is a completely new IP development by many of the team responsible for the original Dead Space game, so expectations for this were high. This, combined with expectations built up from the general marketing, led me to go into expecting high-octane, jumpy, Space Mutant-themed horror filled with gore, jump scares and panic for the gamer, coupled with a conspiratorial plot delighted to satisfy explorers and sci-fi nerds alike. But, did I get this during my playthrough? My experience was, at best, mixed. As per usual, due to the recent release of this game, I will seek to write with as little spoilers as possible. The story is set in the 24th century. Humanity has reached out among the stars, and interplanetary travel and colonisation is very much a thing, with the game taking place on Callisto, one of Jupiter's more habitable, albeit still hostile, moons, in a high-security prison. The player assumes the role of Jacob Lee, played by Josh Duhamel. You may know him from Michael Bay's first few Transformers movies. He is imprisoned after his courier ship crashes on a moon at the start of the game. Shortly after being interred, things start to go to pot a little, and a mysterious viral agent begins turning his fellow inmates into rabid and aggressive mutants. As the player navigates the game, they come across other NPCs, one played by Karen Fukuhara from The Boys, as they seek to find their way off the planet, surviving increasingly ugly mutants, aka biophages, and uncovering a deep-running conspiracy along the way. The story was by no means nothing groundbreaking or novel, but it was overall satisfying. It was told as much through found diaries and logs, and was in general exposition which gave me more incentive to explore and look around. I found myself wanting to know more and actively seeking out more logs to flesh out the narrative further. However, it ultimately proved to be predictable. I would guarantee that by the midpoint of Act 2, you will have figured out where it was going overall. There were some twists, particularly at the end, which were entirely predictable, but not as fleshed out as they could have been, unfortunately. However, this did not detract from my enjoyment of the story overall. Visually, the game was stunning, very polished, very well crafted environments, and the performances by the main cast were on point, so nothing really to gripe about from this perspective. There were a few technical bugs which I experienced, however. I must note that this was played on the Xbox Series X. One particularly annoying one was when turning the game back on and clicking continue in the main menu. Rather than bringing me to the latest save game, it would load up an earlier game save from about 30 minutes into the game, so I instead had to manually press load and find the latest save. A bit of a first world problem, admittedly, but it still isn't great nonetheless. Frequently, as well, you would experience drops in frame rate, just overall game crashes. I'm sure the developers will seek to fix all of this with patches, but until they do, it will continue to mar the experience of players who dive in early in the game's life. The gameplay itself felt somewhat clunky and slow. Combat particularly was an issue for me. The dodging system, which was a selling point for the game, felt clumsy and extremely awkward, moving the right stick left to right depending on where the enemies were attacking from. It felt like they were trying to needlessly reinvent the wheel, and in doing so made it less efficient. Switching between different weapons for me was almost game-breakingly bad. Again, the best word is clunky. It took so long to change your weapons that you could not play to your optimal strategy as the game mechanics simply weren't up to the task. Would it have been too much to ask for a weapon wheel like most games have these days? Yes, a lot of games use this, but there is a reason for that. It works. Whilst the poor gameplay mechanics did hamper my overall enjoyment of the game, the biggest disappointment came from the bit I was looking forward to the most. Just wasn't scary enough. I was expecting arse-clenching jump scares and not wanting to play with the lights off. The design of the biophages was pretty gruesome, and in some cases they looked like they would have belonged in sci-fi horror classics such as Alien or The Thing. The developers should be lauded for this. However, this is not enough to make the game scary. There was no tension, no atmosphere. The monsters, rather than a lurking terror, just became a bit of a nuisance. There were multiple parts where you could see they were trying to make you jump, but really it was more like a, oh, look, another one. When the creatures become predictable, they cease being scary.
And whilst the environments were visually pleasing, they did nothing to creep you out enough to be a breaking point when one of your new friends jumped out to say a violent hello. So, overall, the Callisto Protocol was a swing and a miss in my experience. Story and, to use a popular nomenclature, universe-wise, there's not a lot to go on there. I do hope they build this world out a bit more with future entries. However, from a gameplay and horror perspective, the game just let itself down. There is a lot of competition on the horror game market, and this just did not do enough to stand out, or even justify its own place within the genre. There was just too much wasted potential, generically messed up looking baddies, and an all-star cast a good game does not necessarily make. In keeping with the last review, I'm going to give this one a score, and, being generous, it would be a 5 out of 10.
Welcome back. We've reached the part of the show where we're doing a time trial on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Nintendo Switch. Some of you may already have some time to submit. You've still got time to do that. Email them over to troyxl85gaming@gmail.com and we'll see where you place on the leaderboard. Next up to give the time trial a go is my man Steve. Let's see how you get on. Feeling confident?
Yeah, ish. Not against you.
I'm yet to post the time. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping that I've got the timing right on that. I have no idea what a fast start looks like or a slow one. But the same thing
You
every
press
time.
accelerate on 2 on the timer.
2.
You usually get a little boost.
Probably screwed that
It's alright, still time to claw it back. Got 3 laps.
Okay. So do coins speed you up? Or is it more like a defense when
I
you're...
still don't know what coins do. I don't know if you get a certain amount, you get a boost, or it makes you go a bit faster generally. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never quite understood what the coins do.
Okay.
If anyone watching knows, do let us know in the comments, because I haven't got a clue. Ah, you fluffed that, mate.
That's why I saved my mushrooms, because I knew I'd do it.
There you go, there's your little boost
Lovely.
on the jump.
Lovely.
Oh, just about saved it there.
Yeah.
I find if you drift as you're coming, like if you come into kind of like the close side of the corner,
Yeah.
and if you drift outwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, enough time to fucking berate the camera.
Yeah, and then crash into the side. A lesson in arrogance, huh? Oh no, the farmer's going to get me.
Oh yeah, you got to watch out for them.
What are they called?
I can't remember. Fucking something out of Jim Henson's thing with the fucking
The Muppets?
not the Muppets. Is it
Oh,
Jim Henson with the
Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Oh, what's his name? Is it Shirley 2?
Possibly.
Is it Shirley 2?
I don't know. All I remember is Feed Me Seymour.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there's an homage to that in the Bantu. That one.
Nice.
Really funny. We've got the beanstalk is basically Lucille 2.
All right.
But the giant sings "Feed Me." That is that.
Nice. Last lap, mate. Come on, claw some time back here. Into that drift early. Beautiful. There you go. Off the jump. A little boost as you go through. Watch the Cooper Tower. Oh! Into the finish. Oh! 2 minutes 18.391.
Too bad.
Good man.
Final round. Fight!
So we've reached the final part of the show. Thank you, Steve, for being my guest this week. But before he does run off, we're going to do a quick speed round and answer as many of these questions as you can in 60 seconds. Can I have a member of the audience, please, to give me a timer? Thank you very much. Right, 60 seconds starting now. Sonic or Mario?
Mario,
Xbox or PlayStation?
Xbox.
Uncharted or Tomb Raider?
Never played either. Tomb Raider.
Forza or Gran Turismo?
Gran Turismo.
Pro Evolution Soccer or FIFA?
FIFA.
Sega or Nintendo?
Nintendo.
Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat.
GoldenEye or Perfect Dark?
GoldenEye.
Pokemon or Digimon?
Pokemon.
Call of Duty or Battlefield?
Call of Duty.
Tetris or Puzzle Bobble?
Tetris.
Mario or Luigi?
Luigi.
Ooh. Tekken or Soul Calibur?
Tekken.
World of Warcraft or Elder Scrolls?
World of Warcraft.
Theme Hospital or Theme Park?
Theme Park.
Resident Evil or Silent Hill?
Resident Evil.
All right then. I mean, I've run out of questions here. How long's left on the clock? 10 seconds. There you go. You win. Congratulations. You can have a medal. Here you go.
Kurt Angle medal.
The Kurt Angle medal. It's not the Miz Participation Award.
No, which I did actually get once, remember.
There you go. Round of applause. Thank you very much. So, completed it, mate. That wraps it up for this episode. But to see us out, talented young guitarist here, Steve, is going to play us out with one of your own songs. What have you got for us?
So I'm going to play, it's quite a fruity number. It's not a fruity number.
What have you got?
It's a song called Why Can't I Love You?
Okay.
It's quite a
Fruity?
deep, quite a deep one. Yeah, it's not a fruity number at all.
Deep and fruity.
Yeah.
Like
deep
a
and
good
fruity.
cider.
Exactly.
Lovely. Right, I'll leave you to it. Thank
Cheers,
you for
mate.
watching, guys. Enjoy.
The irony of having you next to me and still feeling so lonely. What do I need to feel more self-complete? I try to occupy myself, but the feeling consumes me. On paper, you are perfect, everything I need. But my mind just cannot rest because my heart disagrees. Why can't I love you like you need? Why can't I love you like you love me? Like you love me. The remedy of being the one to leave, it offered me some respite, but that was all too brief. Intense relief, regrets to grief. In hindsight, I don't understand what I could not see. On paper, you were perfect, everything I need. But my heart got ripped apart as my mind fell to pieces. Why can't I love you like you need? Why can't I love you like you love me? Did I stay too long or leave too soon? I still have vivid dreams of you. But when I wake to see your face, I'm met with empty space. It's too little, too late. I couldn't love you like you need. I couldn't love you like you love me. Thank you very much.